when I go on vacation for 30 days, I take 30 watches with me.
So thank you, Jasmine. Apparently, the IRS is revoking his passport because he owes $7.5 million in taxes.
Then two completely different voices started asking the same uncomfortable questions. When Joe Rogan began discussing the realities of a fighter's career, the business behind boxing, and the pressure that can follow even the biggest stars, while Tasha K publicly questioned Floyd Mayweather's finances and highlighted a series of allegations surrounding his money empire, the conversation suddenly changed. For years, Floyd Mayweather built far more than extraordinary wealth. He built an image that looked untouchable. Private jets, luxury watches, designer jewelry, towering stacks of cash. Everything seemed to prove that the empire could never fall. But now, as more people debate Floyd's recent business decisions and public claims about his finances continue to circulate, one question keeps getting louder. Is Floyd Mayweather still as financially untouchable as he wants the world to believe? Or is the image beginning to face its biggest test yet? And if the king of boxing money keeps accepting exhibition fights, is it simply about staying active? Or is there a much bigger story hiding behind the spotlight?
Is in financial straits. You know, he was very flamboyant and flashy with a lot of his money, and it almost seemed like impossible, even if he lost a lot of it. How can he actually go broke? Well, I know he lost $8 million on a house in Vegas, $54 million in loans. Another house of his just got foreclosed on. What? He sold his plane. Logan Paul says he owes him like $1.2 million. He also owes Dubai royalty money. He's underwater with the IRS. He's not going to garner a lot of sympathy from people because of the way he acted and the way he carried himself. But it's wild to think when you make that much money.
For years, nobody questioned the nickname. IT simply became part of the legend. The name Money didn't just represent success. It became the image Floyd Mayweather carefully built over decades. An image that looked almost impossible to challenge. Private jets, luxury watches, designer jewelry, and endless displays of wealth convinced millions that his financial empire could never be touched. But lately, the conversation has started changing. Not because of one headline, not because of one viral clip, but because the same questions keep surfacing from completely different directions. Across boxing podcasts, sports media, interviews, and online discussions, people keep asking whether the image still tells the full story. That's where Joe Rogan's broader conversations about the business of fighting and the financial realities athletes face begin overlapping with Tasha K's public commentary, where she has questioned Floyd's finances and discussed allegations surrounding his business dealings. Different voices, different styles. Yet both have fueled a wider debate that fans can no longer ignore. For the first time, this no longer feels like ordinary criticism from Floyd's detractors. Instead, more observers are beginning to separate the carefully built public image from the questions now being asked about what may be happening behind the scenes. And when the same conversation keeps returning from different corners of the boxing world, you have to ask yourself, what are people seeing that everyone else may have overlooked?
I lied when it comes to Floyd Mayweather. I told you he was broke. Y'all got so mad at me because it's like, how could somebody actually broke talk about a man who's broke and he got more money than you? Look at all those fake Birkins he buys his girlfriends. Well, listen, here's the thing. And I told you them Birkins was fake. First of all, you cannot go buy 20 Birkins at once that are all the same size. You do know that, right? I couldn't even say the name at first. Remember I used to call it a Herm's bag? And then they started picking at me and I was like, it's Herm. Because I'm just not into buying things to be known.
Let's be honest. This was never just about money. It was always about the image. For years, Floyd Mayweather built a reputation that looked almost impossible to challenge. His fortune was only one part of the story. The bigger message was control, dominance, and the belief that nothing could shake the empire he spent decades creating. He wanted the world to see more than a wealthy champion. He wanted people to believe he was operating on a level where money had no limits. Someone who could spend millions without hesitation and still remain untouchable. Every post, every appearance, every luxury purchase, every public display of wealth reinforced that same message. But now, more people are beginning to view that image through a different lens. As Joe Rogan continues discussing the realities of life after boxing, the cost of maintaining superstar lifestyles, and why some fighters keep returning for high-profile events, While Tasha K publicly questions Floyd's finances and discusses allegations surrounding his business affairs, the conversation has started shifting in a way few expected. This is no longer just about how much money Floyd earned during his legendary career. It's about whether the public image still tells the complete story. And once people begin separating perception from reality, every business move, every exhibition fight, every headline starts attracting a different kind of attention. Because if the image that defined an entire empire begins losing its power, what happens to everything that was built around it?
That Mayweather's broke right now. His spending has gotten so out of control that this is why he's coming back and again.
Oh, absolutely. But I've been knowing that.
Oh, you've known that?
Of course.
Explain.
Of course. Huh?
Explain.
Well, I mean, even in all those expeditions that he's been doing, Floyd was doing shows for $26,000. You know, when Floyd fought Shane Mosley, I called Floyd and I was like, one of the casinos want to give you $150,000 for a 15-minute walkthrough. And they said they'd give me $30,000 to walk through with you. And he turned it down.
Then the conversation changed. The whispers didn't stay quiet. They started getting louder. What once sounded like isolated rumors slowly turned into a much broader discussion across the boxing world. More fans began asking whether Floyd Mayweather's spending, business decisions, and constant public appearances pointed to something bigger than anyone had previously considered. As Joe Rogan continued discussing the financial realities that many elite fighters eventually face, even after earning life-changing money, and Tasha K publicly highlighted allegations and ongoing questions surrounding Floyd's finances, the debate only grew louder. Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on how much Floyd had earned throughout his legendary career. It became about why he continued accepting exhibition fights around the world. Some observers believe those appearances are simply another way to grow his brand. Others have questioned whether there could be financial reasons behind the continued activity. Either way, the contrast has become impossible for many fans to ignore. Because when someone's decisions begin changing, people naturally start asking why. And sometimes, the biggest story isn't the move everyone sees. It's the unanswered question that may have influenced that move in the first place.
Do a deal with me. But if someone going out there putting lies on my name, putting lies on me and my team and my family and hurting my business, we're not talking about millions. We're talking about billions of dollars. We can't do that. So this is my first time ever filing a lawsuit against a media company for speaking bad about my company. I'm not a liar. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a liar. I work hard to build my name, to build my reputation, and I'm not gonna let anyone go out there and smear my name and talk bad about me, talk bad about my family, or talk bad about my companies.
But then, Joe Rogan did something nobody expected. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Instead of making bold accusations, he focused on the bigger picture. The business of combat sports, the pressure that follows elite athletes long after the biggest paydays, and why financial success doesn't always guarantee long-term security. That calm, measured approach made people pay even closer attention. When difficult questions are asked without emotion, they become much harder to ignore. Then came a completely different voice. Tasha K. While Joe Rogan approached the topic through analysis, Tasha K pushed the conversation even further by publicly discussing allegations surrounding Floyd Mayweather's finances and questioning whether the public image reflected the full reality. Her commentary reignited online debate and encouraged fans to look beyond the headlines. Almost overnight, the discussion stopped being about how much Floyd Mayweather earned during his legendary career, because everyone already knew those numbers. The focus shifted somewhere far more uncomfortable. How much of that fortune is still standing today? And once that question entered the conversation, everything that once looked untouchable suddenly became open to scrutiny.
First of all, his manager ran off with all of his money. He's suing Showtime for giving the manager his money. Over $300 million. This man made over $1 billion in his lifetime, okay? It was reported just a few days ago that he has a tax lien for about $7.3 million, okay? Federal tax liens, okay, filed in 2018 and in 2023. So these are unpaid past taxes, all right? I guess the skating rink and the strip club ain't bringing in money like that. Neither is his boxing career, because apparently his ex-manager took it all. And let's not forget, back in 2017, okay, a year before that, he owed about $22.2 million, but his manager, Al Heyman, took care of that at the time.
And once that question is out there, nothing looks quite the same anymore. Every move starts getting examined. The exhibition fights no longer feel like simple side events designed only for entertainment. Instead, they begin to look more deliberate, more frequent, and, to many observers, increasingly difficult to ignore. As Joe Rogan continues discussing the realities of aging fighters, career longevity, and the business behind boxing, while Tasha K keeps publicly questioning Floyd Mayweather's finances and discussing allegations surrounding his money empire, the conversation only grows louder. Floyd Mayweather's constant appearances from Dubai to Japan to Nigeria no longer look like signs of total global dominance to everyone watching. Some now wonder whether those trips represent something very different, a search for the next opportunity rather than another victory lap. Then there's another detail: the opponents. When an undefeated boxing legend begins sharing the ring with influencers and lower-profile names, the conversation naturally starts to change. People stop asking why those exhibitions are happening, and they begin asking what those decisions might actually mean. That's where the speculation becomes impossible to ignore.
Exact words were, quote, "It's an exhibition, so we're both winners. We just want to go out there, entertain the people, put on a good show." When he said that, from where I was sitting, he kind of gave away the fact that he really doesn't want to risk the record, right? That kind of gives it away. How do you feel about that? You're a respectful guy, but as a fighter, how do you feel about that position he's taken?
As a fighter, I'm a fighter, and I respect everyone. I mean, opinion, I respect everyone's decision. But I hope that, and on that decision, announcement of Floyd Mayweather, he will, what he signed is a real fight, so he should fulfill his commitment.
But there's another side to this story, one that rarely gets discussed. And it may be the most important part of all. Because Floyd Mayweather's lifestyle was never designed to slow down. It was built to keep growing. Multiple mansions, fleets of luxury cars, private jets, and non-stop high-end spending all became part of the image he spent years creating. But what many people overlook is that a lifestyle on that level isn't paid for just once. As Joe Rogan continues discussing the financial realities that often follow elite athletes after retirement, while Tasha K publicly questions Floyd's finances and discusses allegations surrounding his business affairs, more people are focusing on the real cost of maintaining that kind of success. Expenses never stop. Maintenance, taxes, employees, security, travel. They continue every single day without pause. That's how systems work. They constantly need fuel. And when an empire depends on constant momentum to maintain the lifestyle everyone sees, people naturally begin asking what happens if that momentum ever starts slowing down. Because sometimes, the biggest pressure isn't building the empire. It's keeping it alive.
He's running around with one of my guys, Link, from Memphis, and he's doing parties for $26,000, $30,000. So when I see him doing that, I'm like, Floyd doing a party for $25,000, $30,000? Something wrong with that. And this was like 6 years ago.
I mean, look, Mayweather broke is not our version of broke, right? Me and you being broke means we're really broke. Mayweather broke means that, okay, he may have to sell off one of his homes. He may have to sell off a few watches.
Well, they saying in New York, the guy that he was getting an apartment from is suing him for that apartment.
Then another pattern starts emerging. One detail becomes two. Then suddenly, people begin connecting them all. That's where the conversation becomes much harder to ignore. Reports involving lawsuits, older tax matters resurfacing, disputed business deals, and business ventures that continue raising questions have all become part of the wider discussion. Viewed individually, each situation may have its own explanation. But when people place them side by side, some believe they begin pointing toward a much larger picture. Joe Rogan's broader discussions about fighter finances and the long-term business of boxing, combined with Tasha K's public commentary questioning Floyd Mayweather's finances and discussing related allegations, have only intensified that debate, encouraging more fans to look beyond the headlines and focus on the overall pattern instead of isolated moments. Then came another voice. from inside the boxing world. Even fighters like Amir Khan have publicly questioned some of Floyd Mayweather's recent decisions, suggesting that certain exhibition appearances could be influenced by financial considerations. And when concerns like these come from someone who understands both boxing and the business behind it, people tend to listen a little more carefully. Because sometimes, the strongest questions don't come from outsiders. They come from people who know exactly how the game is played.
Money has he made from boxing? There's a staggering number that he's earned an estimated $1.1 billion in his career from boxing. Like, the idea that Floyd could ever be broke just sounds absolutely ludicrous. Because no matter what habits you have, like, you know, there's people that says, yo, if you give them $5-10 million, they could never spend that money throughout their lifetime. Now, usually the real truth with whatever amount, just name an amount, is, well...
Then another comparison begins taking shape. And once people notice it, it's difficult to ignore. At the same time, many fans have started comparing Floyd Mayweather's approach with fighters like Canelo Alvarez. While every career follows a different path, some observers point to Canelo's focus on carefully selected fights, long-term investments, and steady business growth built with less spectacle and more structure. Joe Rogan's discussions about smart career decisions and the business side of combat sports, alongside Tasha K's public commentary questioning Floyd Mayweather's finances and discussing related allegations, have pushed more people to examine those differences more closely. The debate is no longer centered on who earned the most money throughout their career. It's about something else. Whose financial position appears more secure today? To some observers, Floyd's financial empire doesn't look quiet or settled. Instead, it appears constantly active, always moving, always creating new conversations. And in the world of finance, some believe that when money never seems to stop moving, people naturally begin asking why. Because sometimes, the pattern tells a bigger story than the numbers ever could.
I think about Mayweather, I'm telling myself, how are we in this place right now? You should have had good people around you, making good decisions for you, so your money wouldn't look funny at this age. There should be no reason why at this moment of your life, you are doing these boxing exhibitions. It's unnecessary, man. Mayweather's one of the best defense fighters. He on his come up, he was knocking people out. Money Mayweather, man, he was that guy. Now I'm hearing that the Netflix thing with Pacquiao and him, it's a lot of things going on. And I'm just telling myself, what is he doing?
Then another familiar voice entered the conversation. And this one carried real weight. Because he had walked the same road. Then there is Manny Pacquiao, the man who once stood across the ring from Floyd Mayweather on boxing's biggest stage. Whenever he speaks about the business of fighting, people usually pay close attention. During a discussion about comebacks and exhibition bouts, his response was strikingly simple. It's for the money. No long explanation. No dramatic build-up. Just a direct answer. As Joe Rogan continued analyzing why many legendary fighters return for high-profile events, while Tasha K publicly questioned Floyd Mayweather's finances and discussed related allegations, Pacquiao's brief remark took on new meaning for many fans. And when a fighter who has experienced the same spotlight shares such a straightforward perspective, it makes people pause. It makes people think. Because sometimes, the shortest answer leaves behind the biggest question of all. And not everyone is ready for where that question might lead. But the story doesn't end there. Because there's another side that few people stop to examine. The business behind the empire. Mayweather Promotions once looked like a company built to outlast Floyd Mayweather's legendary career. It appeared ready to remain a major force in boxing long after the final bell. But today, many observers believe the momentum feels quieter than it once did. Some fighters have moved on to build their own brands, while others have gradually created distance without attracting much attention. As Joe Rogan continues discussing the long-term business realities that every boxing empire eventually faces, while Tasha K publicly questions Floyd Mayweather's finances and discusses related allegations, more people have started looking beyond the fights and toward the business itself. And in business, silence can sometimes speak louder than headlines. Because when respected names begin walking away without much noise, people naturally wonder what's changing behind closed doors. That's why this story no longer feels like it's only about money. It feels like it's about control. For years, Floyd built his legacy around controlling every part of the narrative. He controlled opponents. He controlled negotiations. He carefully shaped the image the public saw. But now, for what seems like the first time in years, some observers believe that narrative is becoming harder to control. Instead of shaping the conversation is beginning to shape him. And that's where everything changes. Because in boxing, perception can be just as powerful as reality. Once that perception begins shifting, influence can slowly change with it. The image is questioned first. Then the confidence surrounding it starts fading. And the man who once dictated every term suddenly finds himself responding instead of leading. Now only one question remains. Can Floyd Mayweather take control of the story once again? Or is this the beginning of a very different chapter for one of boxing's most carefully constructed empires? Now the question is yours. After hearing Joe Rogan's analysis and Tasha K's public commentary, do you believe Floyd Mayweather is still fully in control of his financial empire? Or do you think the questions surrounding his business decisions are becoming too difficult to ignore? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep boxing investigations, expert analysis, and the biggest stories shaping the world of combat sports, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next breakdown could reveal the story everyone else missed.